Hi, everybody. This is the first video on Packet 3. Packet 3 is a review for some kind of final, which has not been chosen yet. So here we go. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is just going back through units 1, 2, and 3, okay, and equations, inequalities, stuff like that. So let's get started. Let me pick a color. Okay, solve the equation. Here is the answer. So over here, what's like the answer, the 2, since they're both numbers. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. The 2 subtract away. I still have 4x on the left. And 10 plus 2 is 12. And the way to get rid of the 4 here is to divide since it is multiplied. Pretty simple. So x equals 3. And put a box around your answer. Make that a little better. Okay, remember you're graded on the work as well as the answer, so make sure you show work. Okay, over here I have variables on both sides, so it doesn't matter, but I usually ask you to go for the smaller of the coefficients. If out of 15x and 7x, 7 is smaller, so it's going to help it to stay positive if you subtract the smaller variable or add it if it were negative. So I'm going to minus 7x on both sides in the appropriate place. It would not do us any good to put a 7x under a 6 because you cannot add or subtract a variable in a number. So these subtract away. 15x minus 7x is 8x. Plus 6 comes straight down because nothing happened to it. And this is gone, and I'm going to make that minus into a negative, so now we have negative 50. Okay, now I do have an answer. Up here I did not have an answer. Now I have an answer. So over here the 6 is like the answer because they're both numbers. So I'm going to minus 6. Let me back up. Let me line that up, although it really doesn't matter because we're going to be adding them. The 6 is subtract away. 8x comes straight down because nothing happened to it. These are, I'm going to quote the addition rules for integers, which says if they're the same sign, you add them. And you take the sign of the larger, which if they're both negative, of course it's negative. The opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by 8. And over here, I'm going to say x equals, negative 56 divided by 8 is negative 7. So there's your answer. Okay, going on down. Solve the inequality and graph the solutions. Change color. Okay, the answer, if you want to call it, is over here. So I'm going to look across. In other words, I'm kind of pretending this is an equal sign because it doesn't make any difference how you solve it right now. So negative 2 and 7 are both numbers. So I'm going to minus a 7. These two are both negative, so I'm going to say same signs add. So I have negative 9. And then I have 3x. Okay, now the variable's over here, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to unmultiply, which is divide. And I'm going to put the x over here. And negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. Okay, now what is wrong with this? If you graph it and use this as your direction, then you're going to be wrong 100% of the time. So we need to actually turn this around. So I'm going to make it x greater than or equal to, see the x is on the big open side, so it still is, and negative 3. So what did we do? We switched the variable and the solution, and so we flipped the inequality as well. So this is the answer. Now, because we turned it around, we can use this as the direction of the arrow. So I'm going to make a number line. I always put 0 in the middle. I don't know if other teachers do that, but I do. and -3 is on the left-hand side. And so I'm going to put an open or a closed circle. How do I know to close it? Well, if it's underlined, I close it. Now, x is greater than, so I'm going to shade it to the right. Okay, going on with the next one, same directions. The only thing is it's sort of backwards. It's got the problem over here and the answer over here. So, but anyway, same directions. I'm going to pretend this is in here and just solve it like it's an equal. So I see the answer and I see -6 is a number. So I'm going to add 6. Hang on, let me change signs just in case they get close. Okay, so I'm going to add 6, the opposite of -6. So the 6's subtract away, and I have 4x greater than 14 plus 6 is 20. Divide by 4. And x is greater than 5. Okay, now the x is on the left. That is good. So I'm going to call this the solution. And then, of course, I have to graph it. Always 0 in the middle or near the middle. 5 is, of course, on the right. And I'm going to draw a circle. Then I have to decide, do I shade in the circle? Do I leave it open? Okay, because it is not underlined, I am going to leave it open. And x is greater than again, so we're going to shade to the right. Okay, number 5, the directions are write the equation in slope-intercept form. So right here, I'm going to write y equals mx. So this is where I'm going. So do you see that y right there? So already I have to move the 2x, I have to move the 5, and I have to get rid of the minus there, or the negative. So that is my goal. So I'm going to write it out. Okay, one more time. I'm going to move the 2x by subtraction, and I'm going to move the 5 by subtraction. So minus 2x, minus 2x. Okay, so I have negative y plus 5 equals, now 0 minus anything is itself, so I'm going to put negative 2x. Okay, now we need the 5 gone. So I'm going to subtract away the 5, excuse me. I could have done that a little better. Okay, minus 5. Okay, I'm going to put this over here because, again, you cannot add a number and a variable. So I'm just going to put it off a little bit. These subtract away, so now I have negative y. Okay, now these cannot be added or subtracted, so we just put them right beside each other. Okay, so I am going to, well, I can't get this. Okay, there we go. I am going to, I have a choice here, and you may not have a lot of room, so I'm going to put a parenthesis here. I could divide -1 away, or I can multiply it away. So I'm going to put -1 here, and that actually flips all the signs. So what happens is now the y is positive. The 2x is positive, and the minus 5 is now plus 5. So I have it in the right form, and here's my answer. Okay, number 6. Solve the inequality and graph the solutions. So one more time, I've had 1, 2, and now a third one with the same directions. I'm going to pretend this is an equal sign right now, and 9 is a number, minus 7 is a number, so I'm going to add 7. Okay, 2x greater than or equal to 9 plus 7 is 16. Divide by 2. X is greater than or equal to 8. Okay, it's in the right order. I have my variable on the left. That is good. So now all I have to do is graph it. 0 in the middle. 8 is on the right. I need a circle above it. Do I close it or leave it open? Well, the underline means I close it, so I'm going to shade it in. And X is greater than again. We have 3 greater thans. So there's your answer. Okay. I should have put a box around this because technically this is part of the answer also. In black, okay. Okay, going on. Find the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. So if you want to find the slope, you need the slope formula. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So I'm going to draw a fraction bar. I'm going to draw these 2 minuses because they are non-negotiable. So I'm going to start with Y2, -1, and then 3 is the Y1, and then I need X2 and X1. So I need a 1 over here and a -1 over here. So I'm going to make this into a giant plus. And then I'm going to quote the addition rules, which are if they're the same sign, you add, sign of the larger, and same signs add, sign of the larger. So if I reduce that or divide it out, I get -2. Okay, find the slope. So I did that. Okay, going on. Find the slope of the line that is perpendicular to a line passing through these 2 points. So we want to find a slope, but then we want the perpendicular slope. So I'm going to underline that because that is very important. So I'm going to find the slope. The last shall be first. Do you remember that phrase? So 5 and the -1 on the top. So I'm going to make a big plus out of this. And then the x's, 5 again, and then 8. Okay, on the top, 5 plus 1 is 6. On the bottom, 5 minus 8 is -3, sign a little opposite, subtract sign a larger. And then if I simplify that, 6 divided by -3 is -2. Okay, now this is an answer, but remember, we want the slope of a line that's perpendicular. So what I want to do is I'm going to put the perpendicular symbol here. It's an upside down T, and I'm going to change this in 2 ways to make it perpendicular. The first change is the opposite sign. And perpendicular means if I make it 2 over 1, I want it 1 over 2. So your final perpendicular slope is 1/2. Okay, going on. Number 9, write an equation for the line parallel. So I'm going to make sure, remember, I want parallel. Now here's a line, but remember, this is the original line. I want another line that is parallel, and it cannot have -5 at the end. So what I want to do is I'm going to go from point slope to slope intercept. Now the slope is 3, and parallel to 3 is 3. So I want the same slope, but I'm going to use this point to make a different line. So y plus 1, the reason I chose that is because the formula says minus, and if you minus a negative, you get plus. Our slope is 3, okay, and then x minus, but again, if you have minus a negative, it's plus. So now I'm fixing to distribute, and then I'm going to subtract away 1. This 3 looks a little weird. There, it looks better. Okay, so now we have y plus 1 equals 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. And then when we subtract 1, okay, this should be our final answer. Y equals 3x. Opposite signs, we are going to subtract and take the sign larger. So there's our final answer. Okay, number 10, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that has the slope of -3 and passes through this point. So Okay, so here we go. We need the same formula, and our slope is not changed, so we keep -3 for slope. So I'm going to say y minus 2 equals -3. Okay, and then x minus, and the x1 value is 4. Okay, going to distribute, and then I'm going to add away 2. So pretty easy. Y minus 2, -3 times x is -3x, and -3 times -4 is +12. Okay, we're going to add away this 2 because we only want y on that side. Okay, and final answer is y equals -3x. These are the same signs, so I'm going to add, so it's +14. And we're going to box in that answer, and that is it. Okay, a cable television company charges $30 for basic installation plus $5 for each additional TV. Okay, so think about that. They're going to come to your house, charge you $30, and then if you have more than one TV, they're going to keep charging you $5 over and over again. So I would write, this is mini, and they're going to charge you this once. Okay, many and once. So it says write an equation in slope-intercept form for that that shows the total cost for setting up any number of televisions. Okay, so we're going to say y equals, okay, now this price that happens many times, we're going to put it in front of x, and then plus 30. Okay, so that's it. Okay, use the equation you wrote in number 11. Okay, right here. What would the installation cost be of a television that has a house that has 5 televisions? So y equals, okay, and x is the number of televisions that they're going to charge you $5 for, and then plus 30. Okay, so we're going to multiply first, then we add. That's the steps, the order of operation. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 30, and that is a grand total of $55. Okay, so that's what it would be if you wanted to hook up the cable and have 5 TVs. Okay, going on number 13. Multiple choice. Which of the following equations describes a line that passes through these 2 points? So what I'm going to do is, I see all the slopes here, so I'm going to find the slope. And so if I'm going to do that, then I need a fraction bar and 2 non-negotiable minus signs. And I'm going to say y2 minus y1, and then x2 minus x1. So what is that? 4 plus 5 is 9. And if I say -1 minus 2, I get -3, which is -3, if I had to simplify that. Okay. Now, do you see I have 2 choices, so I know C and D aren't it. So I'm going to use one of these points in the point slope formula to find the final answer. And I know you have limited room on your paper, but I was able to squeeze it in on mine. So here we go. I'm going to use this point. So I'm going to say y minus 4 equals -3. And then x would be -1, but it's +1 because it's minus and negative. Oops. Make that a little better there. Okay, so we distribute. And again, we're looking for either 1 or 7 for our answer because it's going to be A or B. Y minus 4, -3x, and -3 times 1 is -3. And then we're going to add 4. Okay, now you can see from here that if you take, these are opposite signs, so if you take the sign of the larger and subtract, you would get a 1. So I'm going to choose A for my answer. Okay, so y equals negative 3x plus 1. Okay, there we go. Okay, now solve this equation. I'm going to have to distribute. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2x is plus 6x. And then just copy this. Okay, I'm looking at the variables on either side, and I'm going to say if I move the smaller one, I will keep it positive. So the smaller one here is 3x, so if I minus 3x on both sides, okay, I still have 3. Okay, opposite subtract, sign of the larger. Okay, and on this side, I have negative 7 for my answer. Nothing happened to it. So now I have an answer. Over here, what is like the answer of the 3 because it is a number. So I'm going to minus 3. So 3x is still there. Equals, same signs add, sign of the larger. Okay, divide by 3. And x equals negative 10 divided by 3, which is D. Okay, 15. Okay, which of the following lines is perpendicular? I'm going to underline that word. I need to remember that. To the line that passes through these points. So I'm going to write a fraction bar, find the slope, because again, we have to find the perpendicular slope. So I'm going to say the last y, or y2, minus the first y, and then the x's, the last x minus the first x. Now, 8 minus 6 is 2. 5 minus 1 is 4. And if you reduce that, you divide both of these by 2, you get 1/2. Okay, now I would choose D. But remember, I want a line that's perpendicular. So I'm going to write 1/2 down here. And I'm going to write the perpendicular symbol. And I'm going to ask myself, what is the opposite of 1/2? And what is the reciprocal of 1/2? And that would be negative. And if I turn this over, I get 2. So negative 1/2 is the perpendicular reciprocal. So I'm going to choose C. Okay, let's keep going. Number 16. Solve the following system by graphing the equations on the given line. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so we have to graph these. Now this one's okay to graph, but this one is not. So I'm going to have to, over here, you're going to have to use your margin and solve for y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it 2x plus 2y equals 4. I'm going to minus 2x okay, 2y equals, okay, you cannot add or subtract these, so I'm writing beside each other. Negative 2x plus 4, because 4 is positive. Then I'm going to divide everything by 2. All 3 terms divide by 2. So y equals, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so this is negative 1/1x. And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So now I have this to graph and this to graph, and then I'm going to see where they cross. Okay, I'm going to go down 6 from the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put a dot. And then I'm going to rise 3, run 1. 1, 2, 3, run 1. 1, 2, 3, run 1. 1, 2, 3, run 1. I'm going to go backwards. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, run 1. 1, 2, 3, run 1. Okay, and I'm going to use a line tool because this really needs to be straight. If it's not straight, then I may get the wrong answer. So let me emphasize how straight this needs to be. Yes, I'm looking at it. Okay, now let's graph this in with a different color. Okay, I'm going to go from the origin up to 1, 2. Okay, now what does negative mean? That means negative 1 over 1 or 1 over negative 1. Either slope will make you go left or right. So if I go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, do you see where they cross already? Sorry, I kind of already know my answer. Now if I go up backwards 1, okay, and I just follow the pattern. Okay, I'm going to stop because of time. And now I'm going to position this to make it perfect. Okay, now let me circle this place. This is my answer. Where these two lines cross. And I'm going to say that the answer is over 2. That is the x value. And the y value is 0 because it did not go up or down from the axis. Okay, so there's your answer. Okay, number 17. The sum of two integers is 33. So if you add, sum means add. So I'm gonna say x plus y equals 33. The second integer, which is a y, and is means equal. Y is, so the second integer is y, is 7 more than the first. 7 more than the first. Remember I told you the word than actually makes you turn it around. So now I'm going to step back and look, what do I have here? Because I have to solve two equations simultaneously. Well, if you want my opinion, since you have y equals, I'm going to circle this and I'm going to solve with substitution. So where am I going to put y? In y space. So I'm going to write this with a 33 at the end, but I'm in place of y, I'm going to put x plus 7. So put a little division sign here, division marker, whatever, x plus, and now not y, but what y is, x plus 7 equals 33. I'm going to see that I have collect like terms. 1x plus 1x is 2x. Okay, and I have an equation. Here is the answer, and this is like the answer, so I'm a minus 7. 2x equals 33 minus 7 is 17, 13 is 6, 26. And if you divide by 2, okay, I'm going to come back up here and just start another column. X equals 13. Okay, now x is 13. Now I have to choose which one of these I'm going to slip it back in because we don't just need one answer. We need two. We need an x value and a y value. And I'm going to write the word circled. And I'm going to say y equals 13 plus 7. 13 plus 7 is 20. So that equals y. So my final answer is the first number, the x number is 13. And the second answer is 20. Okay. Change color. Solve the system of equations. I'm going to look at it and say, what do I want to do? Do I want to substitute or do I want to eliminate? So whenever I see x equals here, I'm going to say, I'm going to substitute. Now where I'm going to put this, I'm going to put it in place of x. So I'm going to put it right there. 2 parentheses, all this, and then minus 5y equals negative 17. So 2x. That is wrong. Let me erase that. I got to put a parenthesis here. Okay, because all this goes there. And then minus 5y equals negative 17. Okay, negative 3y plus 8. Okay, now I'm going to distribute. I bet I'm going to collect like terms because I have a y here and I'm going to have a y here and then start solving. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6y. 2 times 8 is 16. And then continue writing, minus 5y equals negative 17. Okay, yes, I see a y here and a y here. So I'm going to quote the addition rules. If they are the same sign, then I add them and the sign on the larger. Okay, and then plus 16. Okay, now I have an equation. So I'm going to think, here is the answer, whatever here's like the answer, the plus 16. So I'm going to minus 16. Okay, subtracts away. I have negative 11y. Okay, these are both negative, so I'm going to add them. Negative 33. And divide by negative 11. And y is going to be 3. Okay, now I got to look at both of my equations. I'm going to use the circled one again. And x equals negative 3. And y is not y anymore, it is 3. And then plus 8. Okay, equals negative 9. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9, and then plus 8, which is opposite sign, subtract sign, the larger. So my first answer is negative 1 for x value, and my y value is 3. Okay, now let me get a different color. Okay, solve the systems of equations. Okay, I see ax plus by equals c, ax plus by equals c. So I'm going to stack these up and make myself a goal. Okay, x minus 2y equals negative 4, and 5x minus 3y equals 1. Okay, now I'm going to focus on here. My goal is to have 5x. Let me write that here. My goal is 5x and negative 5x. Okay, so I want 5x up here and I want negative 5x here. So I'm going to change color and I'm going to okay, I'm going to put a 5 here. And I'm going to put a negative 1 here and a negative 1. Ooh, that I don't have enough room. Okay, now I do. Okay, now what is that going to do for me? I'm going to, let me show you. I will have 5x here, 5 times x, 5 times negative 2y, which is negative 10y. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Okay, now do you see the 5x? That was my goal, to have 5x. Now my goal down here is to have negative 5x. And if I multiply by negative 1, that's what I'm going to get. So I have negative 5x. And then negative 1 times negative 3y is positive 3y. And negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. So do you see my 5x and my negative 5x are my goal? and I achieved my goal. Now the rest of it I add down. I have negative 10y plus 3y. They're opposite signs, so I'm going to subtract and take the sign of the larger. Oops, yes, there we go. These are the same signs, so I'm going to add them and take the sign of the larger. Divide by negative 7. And y equals 3. Okay. I'm going to take the first one, or I might say top, and I'm going to put the 3 in for y. So I'm going to put the 3 right there. So I'm going to write x minus 2 times 3, because y isn't y anymore, it's 3, equals negative 4. So x minus 6 equals negative 4. And now I have just a simple equation to solve, so I'm going to add 6. So x equals 2. So my final answer is 2, 3. Okay? Okay, solve another systems of equation. So I'm looking at it and I see ax plus by equals c, ax plus by equals c. Now, I would think about the 3x and the 5x, but look at the y's. If I had one to be positive and one to be negative, I would be able to subtract them away. So I'm going to write them out. 3x plus y equals 7. And then negative 5x plus y equals negative 17. And I'm going to say my goal here is to have y and negative y, because they would add to 0. So I'm going to put, hang on, I don't really even need that. Y and negative y. So I'm going to put a different color here. I'm going to put, I already have a y, so now I need negative y. So the top one I just rewrite, 3x plus y equals 7. Look at me, forget my x. Plus y equals 7. And this one is negative 1 times negative 5 is 5x. Negative 1 times y is minus y. And negative 17 times negative 1 is 17. Okay, here's where this works. I have a positive and a negative y, which subtracts away. Then the rest I add down. 3x plus 5x is 8x. 7 plus 17 is 24. And if you divide by 8, x equals 3. And I'm going to say the top one. You can say this is top or this is top. So I'm going to write it out, but instead of x, I put a 3. So 3 times 3 plus y equals 7. 3 times 3 is 9, plus y is 7. I can guess that answer. I know what you have to add to y to get 7, but let's finish the equation. We're going to minus 9 on both sides, and y equals opposite subtract, sign of the larger. And so we have our answer. The x value is 3, and the y value is negative 2. Okay, 3 more problems. Here we go. Solve the system of equations again. And 3x plus y equals negative 2. Ax plus by equals c. Ax plus by equals c. Look at this. What if I divided I see that 3 goes into all of these. Okay, we're going to think about that one. We're going to talk about that whenever I finish the answer. Okay, but right now, I know that 3 times 3 is 9. So let's stack them up and then we're going to make a goal. 3x plus y equals -2. Okay, 9x plus 3y equals -6. Okay, so what's my goal here? I think I could have 9. I think I'd have positive 9x and negative 9x. So I'm going to say 9x and negative 9x. So let's put parentheses around here. Now, how are we going to get a 9x here? Well, if I multiply this by 3, I should have it. Okay, now how do I get a negative 9x? I'm going to multiply by -1. Okay, so let's make our two equations. 3 times 3 is 9x. 3 times y is plus 3y. And -2 times 3 is -6. Okay, -1 times 9 is -9x. -1 times 3y is -3y. And -6 times -1 is +6. Okay, okay, well, look what's happening. Everything's subtracting away. The 3y's subtract away, the 6's subtract away, so basically I have 0 equals 0. That means all real solutions are infinitely many solutions. So think of two lines. How could they have infinitely many solutions? Well, they are the same line. So I'm going to put, oh, by the way, I talked about a while ago, all these divide by 3. So look what happens if you actually divide by 3. You know what? Let me change colors for this because this is a little speculation here. Let's change that to purple. Okay. So what if I were to do that? 9 divided by 3 is 3x. 3 divided by 3 is 1y. And -6 divided by 3 is -2. Do you see it's the same equation? Okay, so I'm going to say there are infinitely many solutions. Because they are the same line. Okay, next. A test has 20 questions worth 100 points. The test consists of multiple choice questions worth 3 points each, and short answer questions are worth 11 points each. How many of each type of question are there? Okay, so we have to write two equations. The first equation are the test questions. We know there are 20. That's a total. So some questions plus the other type questions, but in all there are 20. Okay, now point value. One type of questions is worth 3 points. And the other type question is worth 11 points. So every one question is worth 3. So 3 times every type of question, that type of question is 3x and 11. And the total point value is 100. Okay, so writing the two equations. Okay, now how many of each type there? So there's multiple choice and there's short answer. So I am going to look at this and say, am I going to substitute or am I going to eliminate? Well, since it's ax plus by, I'm going to eliminate. So I'm going to make myself a goal here. I'm going to say I need a 3x and a -3x. Okay, so I want 3x here and I want -3x here. So if I put parentheses, how do I make this 3x? Well, I'm going to multiply by 3. And how do I make that -3? I'm going to multiply by -1. So let's write, let's distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times y is 3y. And 20 times 3 is 60. Okay, and all these just change signs. So I need negative 3x. I need minus 11y. And I need minus 100. Okay, the 3x's subtract away. I'm going to quote the addition rules. Opposite signs, I'm going to subtract. Sign of the larger. Opposite subtract. Sign of the larger. And divide by negative 8. And y equals 5. And I'm going to say top because I'm going to use the top equation to solve for the x value. Now y is not y anymore, it is 5. So x plus 5 equals 20. And I already know that answer, it's 15, huh? Okay, minus 5 is x equals 15. So what do we have? We have 5 questions and 15 questions. That is 20 altogether. So I'm going to say we have 15 multiple choice, and we have 5 short answer. Okay. Okay. So that's it for that one. Okay, last one. Let me make this a little better. That should look like a little better 15 there. There we go. Okay, Jackson has 35 dimes and quarters, not 35 dimes, but 35 dimes and quarters. So it means a split between each of them. The coins are worth $6.95. How many of each type of coin does he have? So let's write some equations. First of all, just all the dimes and all the quarters. And I'm going to do D and Q. How's that? D plus Q equals 35. Okay, now the money. There is a total of the money, and that is $6.95. Now for every 1 dime, he's going to count 10 cents. And for every quarter, he's going to count 25 cents. Okay, so there's the other equation. 10 cents for every dime and 25 cents for every quarter. Okay, let's make it look like that. So, AX plus BY equals C, AX plus BY equals C. So I'm going to eliminate, so I'm going to set a goal here. My goal, I'm going to make 10D and negative 10D, okay? Okay, so how to make 10D up here? Well, I'm going to multiply by 10. Okay, how do I make positive 10D here? Well, I'm going to have to multiply by 100, first of all, because I got to move that decimal. 100, and I'm also wanting to make it negative. So I'm going to say negative 100. Okay, so here I go. 10 times D is 10D plus 10Q. And 35 times 10 is 350. Okay, if I multiply by 100, I move the decimal. So it moves 2 places. So I have 10, and then if I change the sign, I have negative 10D. Okay, if I move the decimal twice here, I'm going to have minus 25Q. And then if I move the decimal twice here by the 100, I have negative 695. Okay, so let's add. Those subtract away. The opposites, I'm going to subtract. I get 15. And the sign of larger is negative. Okay, 350 and then negative 695. So I'm going to borrow my calculator for that one. Okay, 350 minus 695. Negative 345. Okay, and I divide by negative 15. And then Q, which would be my quarters. Okay, I'm going to borrow my old calculator for that too. 345 divided by 15, 23. So we have 23 quarters. So I'm going to use the top equation. And instead of Q, I'm going to have 23. D plus 23 equals 35. And minus 23. Okay, so D equals 3 from 5 is 2, 2 from 3 is 1. So I must have 12 dimes. So I'm going to say I have 12 dimes. And 23 quarters. And you see that we could have used A and B, we could use X and Y. Okay, and so that's it. Okay, more later, guys.